This is meant for you guys to kind of reflect on what we see, how we see the officers doing, and to kind of benefit off of our criticism, because there are a few things that I and many other high command have noticed that have been happening that we kind of all agree maybe shouldn't be happening, and we just want to bring it to light during this meeting since we are all here. We have 86 people in this channel. That's great. Let's get this started. I'll start off with my PTS. The first thing I want to mention is for general. Obviously, a lot of you are interested in general. That's fair. That is absolutely fair. General, obviously, being a very high rank, it is something. It is a goal for a lot of people. However, if I may recommend something to all of the people that wish to apply for general in the future, and don't think that I'm targeting a specific person that may be applying now for general or in the past, is simply that something that I have noticed throughout my time as DVL. When you guys apply for a position like general, it is absolutely beneficial that you understand how both branches function, almost to its entirety. Because you are the general and you overlook those branches. For instance, if I were to run for BGen, I would not run for BGen yet because I would want to know how Marines function. I know how Army and Navy functions because I've been in those branches, but I would want to look at how Marine functions as a branch so that if I go for BGen of Sector Bravo, I understand how each branch functions in their own way, and I could then work on how I work on those branches to kind of benefit all branches essentially. So what I ask of you guys is to not just straight up go for general, but at least in your branch try to understand how the other branches in your sector function before actually going for the rank of general, because it is absolutely beneficial to you and it is beneficial to the sector that you do that. Second thing, commander in general is very important and not something you just apply for. I see a lot of the time that I see people apply for these positions of general and commander. I don't know why I couldn't think of it. General and commander, and I see people that apply for it that don't really understand how commander and general functions. There is a lot to be had with general and commander, and when you guys actually apply for it, you have to understand that it is 2 months of pure work on a branch, right? That's what it should be. So when you guys apply for these positions, I'm specifically talking to exos and colonels. When you guys apply for the position of commander, please take into account that a commander is something that is very, very, very special. It holds a lot of power on the server. In your branch, you have full reign of it. You guys need to understand that it's not something that you just apply for. It is something that you put your work into. You spend months in the branch. You know the people that are there. You are there to benefit your branch, because sometimes, not all the time, but a few times, I see people that apply and their excuse for applying for commander is, well, we need someone. That's not good enough. I'm not going to pick someone just because I need someone. Insurgent Army hasn't had a commander for I think 3 months now, since November roughly. And the reason why is because every time that there has been someone that has wanted to go for it, someone that has come back, or someone that wants to go for the position, they've never been able to fit the bill. I'm not someone that is going to just pick someone for a commander or general position if they don't actually deserve it. You guys need to prove to me that you actually deserve it and show me that you have the dedication to give, really. Next up I have is for the commander races, races in quotation marks, essentially when people are applying for commander, please do not go against each other, but find out who is the best, right? So in a utopian society of officers, right, the best idealistic situation is to find the best candidates for a commander and have them apply. I can't say this for sure for Navy. When I was applying for commander, I'm not too sure if we did this, but essentially try to, as a branch, come together and find out who deserves the position of commander, who can really go farther with the position and really help out the branch, right? I don't want to see 5 people applying against each other. I want to see 2 or 3 people applying because the branch wants them to and thinks that they can do well. That's what I want from Commander applications and general applications. It's something that the branch in general should be, that they absolutely respect the decision, because you guys at the end of the day are a branch. So the commander is just the guy that kind of makes decisions from time to time. That's really all he is.
Buddy,
Sure,
join
he
your
holds a lot of
channel.
power, but it's mainly, he's still working with you guys. I'm a DVL, but I'm essentially the same as a head admin. It's just I just make the decisions from time to time, right? I'm not different from my HA team. I work directly with them. It's the same thing with Commander. You guys need to treat it like that when you're picking someone for Commander, right? Next, I want to say is this ties into my previous statement of the races, but stop the drama with the races, please. Just honestly stop it. It's so annoying. If you
User
guys
was moved to your
one
channel.
big thing with Commander and General and the races is you guys don't have communication with each other, right? If you feel like someone is not fit
Buddy
to run the
left your
branch
channel.
and you are an officer of that branch and you want to express that to him, express it to him, right? If I thought Johnson was a crappy DOP, I would tell him, hey, I don't think you're doing your job well, because communication is key during these times. If you're not communicating with your branch and your higher ups, they won't know that they're doing something wrong, right? So you guys need to make sure that you're communicating that to them, that they are not doing well, because if you don't, then they cannot improve beyond that. So just don't talk behind other people's backs. It's way more beneficial to tell them straight to their face, hey, I think you're doing this wrong, you should do it like this, or I don't think that you should take it this way, or I just don't think that you're, fit for commander at all. I think that you need more experience, or whatever the case is. Try to be more open with your branch, because at the end of the day, you guys are all there to benefit that branch. Next is it's mainly a pet peeve of mine. The debriefs over time that I've seen, during my time on Gary's mod, or just in general on the server, I've noticed that debriefs now are extremely disorganized, and I mean extremely disorganized. I see people, the officers that are hosting the debrief, jumping around. They're not really organized at all. They're just like, all right, we're gonna go cap some points, do a raid. Oh yeah, we need to do this, this, and this in the middle of it, right? When you are going to do a debrief, it should be something where you organize it beforehand. You pre-plan it. Like, okay, we're gonna have, once we call the debrief, we're gonna have AFSOC go and cap these points, or we're gonna have tactics division go and cap this point, and then they're gonna go boost over the wall here,
Hey,
right?
wake
It should
up.
be something that is planned beforehand, not just thought of on the spot. Right, you guys need to act way more professional in debriefs and in situations when you're in front of your enlisted. This is a big, big issue that I have. Back when I was Navy commander, one strong thing that I made sure that my men knew, hopefully, was that I do not allow messing around or mingy behavior in front of the enlisted, because that mingy behavior attaches then to the enlisted, and that's how they act. You guys are all officers. I understand that it's sometimes good to fool around, right? I'm not gonna lie. Me and my HAs, we're sometimes in my channel just goofing off, doing whatever, not doing anything serious, just goofing off. That's fine. But you need to make sure that everyone in the channel is, first of all, you're not doing anything like in game, first of all. If you are in game, you need to remain professional and remain that officer image. Absolutely. That's something that should stay there. That is something that is very important as well. So you guys need to make sure that you're keeping that into check. Um, and another big thing is you just can't be showing that behavior to the enlisted, because again, that's how they then act later on, and especially if they become officers, then that's just how they act normally. That's how they grew up to act, and then they act like that way when they're officers, and then the enlisted act the same way, right? It's just an endless cycle of minginess. So when you guys want to goof around, or you guys want to just chill out, not do anything serious, or remove your professional face from time to time, make sure it's in a private channel with people that that are aware that it's not a serious situation. Next, stop fighting in the applications. Leave your opinion as it is, and go. And that goes for applicants as well. This is again another pet peeve of mine. during Commander applications, you guys do not seem to understand that I don't want you guys fighting in applications because it annoys me, and it should not be there. Applications, when someone applies for a position, your job as the audience or whatever you want to call yourself, you rate the person, +1 or -1. There's no such thing as a neutral rating. You +1 or -1, +1 being that you think that he should get the position, -1 thinking that he should not get the position. You leave your opinion, and that is it. You just say, hey, I don't think that you're qualified for this, and this reason. Where it begins to become a problem is other people then reply to that comment. Nope, that's where you stop. The only comments that should be on applications are ratings. The only thing, ratings, and then also the person accepting the application or denying it. That is the only thing that should be on applications, period. There should not be anyone commenting to other people saying that, oh, hey, you're actually wrong here, or no, he doesn't do that, stuff like that. That is all handled on PMs, period. That is all handled on PMs. I do not want to see it on applications whatsoever anymore. It's severely annoying. You guys are all officers. I expect better from you. It only happens a few times during commander races, but it's just something that I need to bring up because it's honestly getting very, very annoying. So yeah, just keep it to PMs. The only thing that should be on applications are +1s and -1s. And finally, the last thing that I have to mention is to the commanders here, the XOs need to be people that act as a commander when you are not online or around. Some of them really do not live up to that standard. I've had to deal with many XOs in the past where they just aren't XO material whatsoever. This has happened recently, this has happened previously, this has happened ever since I've been HA. To the commanders here, and the generals if you're promoting XOs, keep in mind, the XO is someone that works directly with a commander and is a commander figurehead when the commander is not around. That is what XO should be, and it should always be. The XO is not someone that is doing good work. The XO is someone that could be a commander if the commander wasn't there. That is what an XO is. That is all an XO is. You guys need to keep that into mind and realize that when you're promoting XOs, because that is very, very, very important. I don't want to see any XOs coming out of nowhere. XOs need to be dedicated to the branch. They need to stay there for a long time. And they need to be someone that you completely trust and act, again, as a CO when you are not around. Even when you are around, they should be acting as a CO. That's what an XO should be. That is all I have to mention. That is all I have on my document for PTSs. I understand that Solomon has a huge PTS. Oh my lord, this is 2 pages. Zezo, you go first, actually. Oh, it's being read by Priv? Okay. Well, then again, Zezo, can you then read or talk about what you want to say?
Alright. Awesome. I feel that this meeting is worth it for you guys to be listening to in the first place. If you guys have your shit muted or anybody has their stuff muted, please poke them, because this is very informational for you guys, and not only informational, but this is probably one of the first times that we've ever had to have an issue with the officers, to the point where the DVL had to step in and literally call a meeting. And that's a pretty big, I guess you could say, jump, or a pretty big issue. So, just please poke the people who are muted and let them listen. So what I have to say is I feel that overall, the RP that has been happening between officers, and not only between officers, but within the entire server, has been next to garbage. And I know you guys might be like, well, only players care about killing people. No, you can easily train somebody to be, immersed into RP as easily as you could train somebody to shoot a fucking gun at somebody and kill somebody. I don't want to hear excuses about you guys saying, no recruits want to, RP or anything. These people are, putting in out of character 3, numbers. They're counting down. They don't know what they're doing. Okay, if you could literally just step in and take, maybe even the reins of the situation, and talk to, these players and help them understand the RP of the server. Actually guide them, because after that training session's done, they're in army branches. They're trying to go to tryouts. They're doing stuff all on their own. There's the RP continues, and if they don't have that backbone, or if you guys aren't able to provide them that, they're going to be just as mingy as the next people, and there's going to be a lot more situations that are going to be having to be handled between staff. And I've seen this countless amount of times where people are minging in the team speak, officers are minging in the team speak. I've seen officers minging in game. I've seen people break server rules and pass it off like it's nothing, and I'm sick and tired of it. It's going to stop. It will stop after this meeting, because you guys are the people that are to be respected within the server. I have the utmost respect for you guys, as you guys should have the utmost respect for me. In the situation that you guys were ever to be yelled at by any other person, it better be for a good reason. Just don't get defensive and play it off like, oh yeah, I wasn't supposed to go and train this recruit. Oh yeah, I didn't totally mean, to minge in the team speak, by which I'm supposed to be showing utmost professionalism and I don't know, aplomb in the team speak. It's not an excuse. There's no reason for you guys to be minging. There's no reason for you guys to be unprofessional. In the RP, in the rules, you guys are not supposed to break character whatsoever. This is in character chat unless stated otherwise. TeamSpeak is in character chat. So that means at all times you should be in character. And through that, you guys should have RP surrounding your character, by which you should be using. I don't want to hear an excuse, oh yeah, my character is just a mingy dude that likes messing around as an officer. No, this is serious RP, and you should be taking it seriously. The RP needs to change, and you guys need to change with it, okay? Now, another thing that I've noticed, there are officers that are inactive.
User was moved out of your channel.
Inactive officers are not tolerated. I don't care whether or not you have, an issue that you have to take care of. That's an LOA or an ROA. People who have to leave, who have to, go out, that's their own issues. But if you have an inactive officer, they need to be removed. That is not professional. They're not, participating in the RP anymore. They need to be removed. I see far too many people who are officers that are inactive, and far too many rosters that are not updated. It has gone past the line to the point where I get angry seeing that there are people that are on the roster 2 weeks after they've just disappeared. That shouldn't happen. You guys should be automatically updating your rosters as you go, day to day. There should be one person overseeing a roster at a time. This has gone too far to the point where people are literally messaging me daily saying, there's no officers on, I need training, there's no people on. If you're an inactive officer, you are not bringing anything to the server. You are currently taking away from it because you're holding a position that somebody else could be holding. Last thing that I want to be talking about. If there are people that want to have tryouts for a certain class and you cannot hold them, it is your duty as an officer to be dealing with them. You are supposed to find another person to do the tryouts. Okay? You signed up for officer. You were put into this position. You said, yes, I would like to become an officer. And officer's duties require tending to the enlisted. Okay? That is it. Without the enlisted, it would all be officers. It'd be a complete fucking full server full of 86 people, literally fully trained and everything. And that wouldn't be fun at all, because who would you kill then? Everybody just be experienced, and that wouldn't even be fun. So please, if there is somebody that needs training, that needs something within the branch, it is your job and duty to help them. No excuses. That is all for my PTSs.
Alright, thank you, Zizzo. Real quick, I forgot to mention this previously. Just so you guys know, actually this is mainly to the people that will be speaking. If someone mentions something that you that you wanted to mention, please don't mention it again. We just want to make this as quick as possible. We have a lot of people to go through. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. That being said, Priv, are you reading Solomon's? Someone said.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead and read it now.
All right. So for Solomon's PTS, sorry, he is here today, so he can't use his mic. So the only people who should apply are the people who have been trained and recommended by the former CO to run. There are multiple reasons for this, as
User
well
was
as
moved
multiple
to your channel.
exceptions. First and foremost, the training by the former CO is very important. If an untrained person applies for CO and ends up getting it, they will have no clue what they are doing. They will ruin and kill the branch, not out of malice. I can't even say that word. I'm sorry, I'm bad at that. But out of ignorance. The only way they know what to do as a CO and how to do it is if they are taught
Buddy
how.
joined
Leading a
your
large
channel.
group of people is no easy task and should underestimated. There we go. Whoops. Being a branch CO breaks you down and builds you up differently. If you are prepared for this, you will build it up better. If you are not prepared, you will break it down and fail the branch. Being trained is extremely important. I highly urge anybody who didn't get chosen as a trainee by the former CO not to run. All right, the next part is
Buddy left your channel.
of course, there are a few exceptions to this. Those being, if the former CO was corrupt, the former CO did not train anybody for CO, or a large majority of the branch is wanting you to apply. These should be the only exceptions, in my opinion. Of course, there is no official rule about who you can and cannot run outside of the rank and time requirements. But if you are loyal and really want your branch to succeed, you'll see the value of the standard. All right.
User was moved
Going
to
into
your
why
channel.
somebody should run for CO. This is fairly simple. Your motives should be wanting to help the branch get better. You shouldn't run because you want a cool rank in
User
your
in
name.
your channel
You
timed
shouldn't
out.
run because you want more power. You shouldn't run because you want your own agenda. As a CO, you are serving the branch. The branch isn't serving you. You are to do the will of your branch and what would be the best for them, not yourself. I have seen countless commanders get into office and blacklist all of the people who oppose them, even if they are highly beneficial to the branch. This is not good. By doing this, you would be injuring your branch, not helping it. On to my last point, which was how to behave during the race. I have seen during some CO races that people are just at each other's throats, and the branch is split into a kind of civil war. All right, the CO candidates split the branch into sides and pieces. Each CO candidate having a decent amount of people following and supporting them. Then these CO candidates start slandering each other, and their supporters follow suit. This splits and kills the branch. Do not be enemies with other candidates. Do not view them as against you. They were your friend just before the race, and all of a sudden that changes. Why? If this happens, it shows how power hungry and unfit those candidates are. If the candidates are fighting
Buddy
amongst each
joined
other
your channel.
and
User was moved
bickering
to
and
your
trying
channel.
to bring each other down, none of them deserve CO.
User
Do not
disconnected from
be
your
like
channel.
the candidates I described above. If you are to run, do so while viewing your other candidates as friends and continue being friendly with them. Furthermore, do not gain followers for yourself. I don't mean to push away supporters, but if you are here to hear people slandering your other candidates, put them back in their place and stop it from happening. If you won't, you will just be helping destroy the branch to claim you love. In conclusion, if you were to run for CO or B-Gen or Major General, make sure you are fit for it. Make sure you know how to do it. Make sure you do not attempt to pull down your other candidates in order so you can get the position. Also, make sure your branches or branch
User was moved
you
to
look
your
over.
channel.
You want to apply for that position. Without the branch, as CO or B-Gen or Major
User
Gen
was moved
is
to your
nothing.
channel.
We would be looking over and watching over nothing. Make sure you have the support of the branches you are wanting to look over. Thank you for reading and listening. Major General of the U.S. Forces, Sullivan.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Solomon or Priv. That being said, real quick, just for the people that kind of just got moved in, this is the global officer meeting in case you are unaware. Um, if you guys need to leave at all, just leave. It's fine. Don't worry about it. There will be a recording on the forums. I highly suggest that you stay here if you can, however. Because it's something to be aware of. Hopefully you guys are.
User
if you guys
disconnected
cannot,
from your
make
channel.
it to this meeting, please read the recording. That being said, we have both Major Generals equivalent speak. We'll move down to the generals now, to the Lieutenant Generals. So do any of my HAs want to mention anything?
Just real quick, I've got something for you guys. After this meeting, if you are a TRI or above, feel free to join me in my channel. It's not necessary,
Hey,
but I'm
wake
going to be
up.
having an open discussion with you guys. So if you're TRI plus, I need, I'd like to have a group of, a good amount of people. So feel free to join me up there.
Alright, thank you, Russian. Any AHs want to speak?
Buddy left your channel.
Horrible, you want to go? Because I'll go.
I'm nervous. I don't want to say mine anymore.
Okay, I'll go.
Buddy left your
Pretty much,
channel.
I'll make it short. When I applied for commander, I was TSF commander for 2 months. Something happened with the
User
previous
was moved
commander
user
before
left
me,
your
and I talked to
channel.
everybody, officers who were around me at the time, and I asked them, "What would you think if I applied?" I had a general majority, pretty much everybody said, "Go for it, go apply." Nobody else applied. I pretty much easily got it. I had a terrible app. There's a point when you're just applying just because you want to apply for CO and you're not actually, you're not going to get it, which that's ridiculous if you just want to apply to put an app up there. And there is a point when you have a chance of actually getting CO because you can actually do something with the branch. And if you can't do anything with the branch, do not just sit there, apply, or don't sit there, comment on other people's posts. That's ridiculous. We really need to fix the RP, even high ranking exos. I've seen minging around. I've seen a CO before minge. So we really need to start working on the server, guys. I will personally go around as the Lieutenant General and yell at people and make exos do PT if I see shit that keeps coming up.
Thank you, C. Do we have any other Lieutenant Generals that want to speak? This is your only chance. We're not doing any interruptions. Alright. Then moving on to Brigadier Generals, aka and also Ministers, if there are any.
Me, but
yeah,
my
go
point
ahead.
was covered. My point was covered.
Okay. Then any other Brigadier Generals want to speak? Just call out. No other BGens? Any ministers? Any generals whatsoever that want to speak?
Once, twice, apparently not.
Okay.
Oh,
Alright, go ahead. Actually, Brian, since you'll be typing, yeah, go ahead, just keep typing, man.
User in your channel timed out.
Is that all, Brian? Alright, I'm assuming that's all. One thing that I want to mention to the people that will speak, no offense to you, Brian, but don't use this time to talk about how your branch is doing. That's not what this is meant for. This is not a commander's meeting, guys. I don't want you guys telling the entire officer team how your how stuff is doing. In your branch, like the commander's meeting usually. It's not like that. I want you guys to bring up concerns and problems that have come up that you guys want to mention to the officers, because they are all here. They are all listening. Any improvements that you guys want to mention to them, things that they could improve on, things that you want to mention to them that could help their behavior, stuff like that. That being said, that's all the generals that we have to speak. Now for the commanders, I want the commanders to please ask for PTS in chat as soon as I type my line. So you guys just put down PTS in chat. Only the people that are speaking for their branch. The only change that we had is that Kai Cobra is now speaking for ISF rather than Wage because he just came back. This is just for order, guys. Alright. We'll start off with Priv for Army. Army, go ahead.
All right, so my PTS isn't too long. Actually, it's kind of long. So this has been an issue that I know a lot of you will probably agree with me, but we're not professional enough. If like the server's serious RP, and sometimes the way we roleplay and how we do stuff here, it's not serious, and that's partially the officer's fault because you guys are in charge of how the people act and how they show themselves
Buddy
for
joined
the
your
branch. Like,
channel.
like the commanders of some of the branches, you guys aren't showing like I'm the commander of Army. I have to deal with a lot of Minji recruits and Minji PV2s, but I try and better them so that they aren't Minji anymore and they become professional. All right. So really, I feel like if you guys don't agree with me, that's up to you guys. But I feel like we really need to start being more professional and be more serious in a way. All right. The other thing, I feel like officers should be working harder for their promotions because some officers I see them get promoted extremely fast and they really don't do that much. I know I can't say that, but I've noticed that a bit, and really I feel like they should be working harder for promotions. Also, the XOs and the colonels in some branches, they like personally in my branch I've noticed this, but like we need to start talking and communicating more with our lower ranks, because just because you have a lower rank, you know, you can still contact them, you can still like talk to them. Because what if that one guy, he becomes the new commander one day, you know? Like, just you got to communicate more. I just feel like we should be doing that. The other thing is a bunch of my officers wrote stuff too. So light punishments are given to people that do something humongously against the active rules on the server, like the MP accidentally kills someone with their shield even though it was a mistake. There's no need. There needs to be RP punishments, and if someone is mouthing off, don't give them just 5 laps, and think about what you did at the point of them mouthing off to officers as a low level.
You were moved.
Oh, I'm meant to do find in channel. My bad.
It's fine, I wasn't talking. Just be quiet when you go in because Priv is talking, actually.
Channel switched.
Contact a staff member
Buddy
and get
joined
a
your
warning
channel.
for the NITRP. And if they continue,
User
get them
was
jailed.
moved to your channel.
No more of letting lower levels be hotshots, alright? I feel like we should start making the lower ranks have more authority, because if you think about it, in real life, the real life military, a sergeant is going to be doing a lot more than just listening to warrant officers. Because really, the sergeants, this is what I've been trying to do with my branch. I've been trying to make it so that the sergeants, they can do PT or even tryouts with some of the PV2s, because like really the trooper class only has 20 and they can do the tryouts like that. But really, we should make it so that even SFCs and CSMs, they should really have more authority than once you get warrant officer, you finally get that authority that you've been waiting for all those ranks. Because I feel like the enlisted, they all have the same amount of authority. So
User
I really want to make
disconnected
it
from
so
your
that they
channel.
have more authority. All right. The other thing is something like giving a staff sergeant inside of Army authority to do trials for marksman and machine gunner to help them with giving them more authority to state, and in giving them this ability will not be too much power, because the people that are here to break rules will do it at PV2 to corporal, not at staff sergeant. And giving this authority to lower ranks, they will be noticed faster and will help show their dedication at the end of the day. The higher officers now can notice the smaller guys faster, and the little guys will be more immersed, and would want to come on every day, and will want to go above and beyond, like joining staff, becoming a trainer, and at the end of the day, making the community healthier and better for everyone playing on it. That's pretty much my PTS kind of mixed up around and reworded, but yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Priv. Moving on then to the next PTS we have is Done for base ops. Go ahead.
I believe, well, this is Firecracker's PTS. I'm just going to elaborate on it a little as well. It's to do with officer quality. We believe that officer quality across the board has seemed to have dropped more, and it needs to be improved. Like if officers, for like mainly captains and below, if they're unsure about something, just ask someone who's higher up. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's a famous quote which I like using here, which is, "He who asks is a fool for 5 minutes, whereas he who doesn't ask is a fool forever." Like if you don't know something, and you keep doing it, then you're gonna look an idiot for a long time. Whereas if you just ask, they might make a fool of you for like 5 minutes, and then that's it. And not only that, it reflects onto the other new players. So if like the enlisted come in and they see you doing stuff wrong, they're gonna take that and they're gonna adopt that habit and they're gonna do it too. So act a lot more professional around the enlisted. And as to what Duckley said when it comes to doing occupations and stuff, do you mind if I post a couple of links? Because me and Wolf made these things too when it comes to occupation. I think it'll benefit everyone.
That's fine, yeah.
Right, if you like doing occupations, I highly recommend you look at these. Me and Wolf made these for the commando unit. So that's one, and I've got one more.
Oh, this is an edit link, no one can access this. You need to give us the viewable share link.
Well, that's my PTS. I'll
User
post it
disconnected from
once
your channel.
I've done that.
Alright.
Thank you.
Thank you, done. Moving on to Echo. Speaking for Allworth, go ahead.
Alright, Olworth has this to say. Officers need to be role-playing more. Make the enlisted roleplay more as well. There's situations where we are not able to roleplay while there's kidnapping and arresting searching people. But when something goes wrong and people get executed, totally kills the roleplay, okay? So make sure you're roleplaying more with your officers and teaching them how to do these things. Second off, from Oldsworth. Some officers are very disrespectful and should be more respectful with a higher ranking. I can do this, and so can Oldsworth. Officers do not realize that the higher ranking officers from the branches can give them orders. For example, if a Dago gives orders to a DS, the DS refuses to do them and starts being very disrespectful to the higher up, that is considered officer disrespect. That's all of his.
Thank you, Echo.
Yep.
Or Allworth. Moving on then to Kai Cobra from ISF. Go ahead.
Alright guys, I hope everyone's doing well tonight. I have a couple things I want to hit on in a PTS. Duckley said earlier not to talk about how the branch is doing, that's for the commanders meeting. But I think it has to go without stating. The biggest thing that the insurgent side needs to work on as a whole, and I myself am still improving in this, and I am still trying to improve my branch with this, is RP as a whole. I think currently RP as a whole is weak on our side. It's weak on the server, but I think we are getting better. But I think the rest of the insurgent side is lagging behind in that.
Buddy left your channel.
We are pushing for more RP. We are doing training quite frequently. Executions have been completely removed from our system. We do not do executions anymore. There's no RP scenario for executions. We enforce PT. We do simple things like that. And originally I thought that was crazy and that would never work for this side, but it does. And it has worked great. The problem I think that's coming with the rest of the insurgent branches is a lack of effort.
User was moved to your channel.
There seems to be a lack of care put forth by officers in other branches towards building their own branch. It's a lackadaisical approach that people just expect things to turn out fine, and I think that's part of the reason why our numbers are so low all the time anyway. That goes back to RP, but it also just goes to just trying to better yourself as an officer and yourself as a player on the server. We have to also start enforcing what other branches do well. IBO should be enforcing, PTS, like make PTS a serious thing. Army should be throw the caution to the wind branch and go in with guns blazing and just see what happens. ITD should use some actual tactics. I have a couple of my officers giving me things to say, and one that keeps popping up is that the insurgent side needs to focus less on slaughter and killing and more on role-playing. I'm working on a set of documents. RP scenario documents where a scenario would be given in the document, and the document would just go over, what to do, what you shouldn't do, how you should handle it, who should handle it. And I hope if and when those get finished, they get distributed among the branches evenly. The also other main problem with the Insurgent side as a whole currently is just a lack of COs, and that's not particularly our fault, I don't think. But we have 2 COs. One is Eastern, and I am the only Western CO. We have 1 active minister. Unfortunately, we don't have an MOD. Phil, I love him to death, but I haven't seen Phil on forever. And Zizo has been more active lately, and I can't talk high enough about Zizo. So we really have to start, training that new higher system of officers to go into these CO ranks and these minister ranks, and we really have to start rebuilding from the ground up. And I'm starting with my branch, but I really hope the entire Insurgent side as a whole will be open to the ideas that not only I present, but their enlisted present, my enlisted present, my officers present, our ministers present. I think we have the potential to even out the numbers with the US side, if not beat the US. I really think we do. It's just a matter of putting in the effort and putting in the time and work required to building towards that. And I hope to see a change, and I see a change happening currently. Again, I know I'm not supposed to be talking about our branch, but I did the numbers earlier today, and since Saeed's term has ended, so the 6th of December until the 6th of January, ISF has recruited 144 members into the branch. That is 48 a week. Those numbers are absolutely insane and absolutely unheard of for an Insurgent branch. And I think that just boils down to the effort put in, not only by me, but by my officers and by the enlisted. And I think that speaks wonders to the changes we're trying to implement and promote in the Insurgent side as a whole. So that's it.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Kai Cobra. Let's move on to the next PTS. Dan, you want to post your link?
Yeah, I've only got 1 at the minute. I'll just send it anyway. So if you like doing occupations and stuff, this is to do with breaching, when you're breaching buildings and stuff that me and Wolf created. And I think it'll benefit everyone.
Alright, thank you, Kai. Next up is Twig from Navy, so go ahead and Twig. Alright. Are you copy pasting or actually typing? Alright, I'm assuming you're actually typing. So one thing that I've noticed that constantly goes under the radar is these passive-aggressive arguments between branches and factions. Actually, Twig, since you're typing, while you're typing, I'm gonna have someone else go, just so we can conserve time. So Jackson, can you then talk when while Twig is typing? Twig, I'll read yours after his.
Yeah, the 2 things I want to say is communication between commanders can be a little bit better. I feel like a lot of the time commanders go behind each other's backs and don't really, there's a lot of backstabbing going on at the moment. That's what I feel like is really going on. And I feel like there's a lot of officers who feel like they can just leave the branch whenever they want without punishment. That shouldn't really be going down. Once you become an officer, you should really stay in that branch because it really benefits that branch, and it benefits the server when you stay in that one branch. Only leave when you gotta leave, because if the branch is doing well, of course leave. You don't want to be in a sinking ship, but at the same time don't leave because another branch is telling you to leave. And that's all I have to say.
Jackson. And for are you done, Twig? Alright, go ahead, Twig.
User was moved to your channel.
When told to take it somewhere else, some officers attempt to argue that's okay to do. Oh, you cut off. People keep all arguments out of OOC because the enlisted can view this, even your higher ups. Yeah, just just as I said before, if you want to do something, actually, I guess I didn't mention this before, but all branches do this. I've noticed, even Navy. Yeah, so as I mentioned before, don't minge in front of your enlisted. Definitely don't argue in front of your enlisted, because it just shows that you guys are a disorganized mess. If you guys have an argument with something, you take it to a private channel or PMs. Never take it out in front of the enlisted, because when you do that, it just causes problems. Thank you, Twig, though, for your PTS. Moving on to Skank Hunt. Go ahead for AFSOC.
Alright, thanks. Sorry to say this, but can you give the PTS to Karanja? He has a very important PTS, and I would like him to explain this more in depth.
Okay.
If it's not too much to ask for.
That's fine. Where's Karanja? Here he is.
Oh, thanks for channel admin. Probably can keep this. Alright, so one of my primary concerns, if not my only concern on the server, has to be streamlined promotions and top-heavy rank structures within branches. Now, there have been multiple instances where I've seen certain individuals brought up through the ranks at ridiculous and unprecedented rates. On top of that, I've noticed an immense amount of officers on at any given time, okay? Now, this is understandable considering the fact that majority of our player base are regulars, but to that I would like to share a solution with every single one of you officers. I'm just trying to take advantage of this. Task delegation, okay guys? If you guys haven't already noticed, we have a wonderful selection of staff NCO and NCO ranks available to us. Currently, shit all happens. These NCOs and staff NCOs aren't given any tasks or responsibilities, and I'm being poked.
User disconnected
and aren't given any permissions besides being able to hold token optional missions. I've seen officers partake in tasks that I honestly think that E4 and E9 ranks can do. If you guys don't know what that is, that's like corporal and above. Honestly, solution, I think we should start giving these ranks more responsibilities, whether it be for tryouts, COC subdivisions, or squads, and these guys can all, or these tasks can all be given into the hands of our enlisted men. We need to start thinking about roleplay content and the content that we make available to our enlisted ranks. In my honest opinion, rank distribution is a real problem. The current distribution between officers and enlisted should be around 1 to 2, and that's a generous number I'm putting out there, but right now it's more like 2 to 1 with the enlisted ranks and individuals on the butt end.
In your channel timed out.
But that's really all I have to say, just specifically, touching upon rank distribution and ratios.
Alright, thank you, Karanja. So I hate to interrupt right now, but one thing that I want to mention is please do not be cancerous that's kind of the only term that I can use right now, is don't be cancerous in OOC. When you're in game, when you guys are in game, even though it's out of character chat, do realize that the entire server knows what you are saying and can see what you are saying, and it completely ruins your reputation if you are kind of acting
User
that way
joined
in
your
OOC.
channel.
Alright? I said it's fine to goof off, but when you're goofing off, again, make sure that it's in a private channel. Where
User disconnected
everyone
from your
in
channel.
the channel is aware that you guys are just goofing off. It's not serious. It's whatever. You guys do not do that in OC whatsoever.
User
though.
was moved to
and
your
you also
channel.
don't do it when I tell you not to do it. That being said, let's move on from AFSOC. Thank you, Karanje. Moving on to... Who's next? Echo. Echo, go ahead.
Alright, this one's a little bit lengthy, but I'm gonna keep it short and simple. Okay, there's no such thing as a perfect officer. I'm not one, nor are the HAs. The thing we all have to know is we have to train our lower enlisted to be good. Not perfect, but good. Every enlisted sees what we're doing, in-game and out-of-game. They're in our team seat constantly, and in-game 24/7. As a staff, you can bring things into your thing as making sure they're trained and they know the rules. Don't take it overboard and don't keep it underboard, okay? Make sure your enlisted know this and make sure your officers do as well. Never sass another higher officer. I've had multiple circumstances of this where I've just been giving advice to people lower than me, and what they do is they basically tell me to fuck off. Okay? It's not okay in any situation. If you have a reason, tell me or tell an officer. They might accept that reason. I've had one person that did and actually gave me a very good reason for it. But otherwise, never disrespect an officer. Lower enlisted. You guys, it's your primary job to do tryouts for the branch. It's one of the main reasons. I was a warrant officer when I was, and I stayed at that rank for about a month. Because I was doing a lot of tryouts, and they liked me at there. If you see an enlisted minging, don't take it. Don't take any of that. Demote him or blacklist him. That's what I do. It's what JEDX taught me to do. I've served under the most harsh and lenient commanders you can think of. I've almost been blacklisted, okay? But that was my fault. Do not ever take anything from an enlisted if they're doing anything that is against the rules or against the branch rules. As for commanders, I have to be vigilant as one of the highest ranking in my branch, and so does everyone else. Because the thing is, we don't see everything, and this is where lower enlisted come in. Lower officers come in. They speak to us, but the thing officers need to know is they have to teach enlisted about COC. I've had multiple people from other branches that are below the rank of SB, that were BRs or AKRs, that had just been trained or got out of training or about to be trained, asking me about questions. Yes, it's fine to some extent, but that's another thing that you guys are for. JAGs, TORs, you guys need to be on the game, watching all those lower officers, if you don't know the equivalent major and captain. But it's your job as management officers to watch over the other officers and look out for those enlisted that you believe that, oh, they're doing a great job, okay? And this has been brought up an insane amount of times during this meeting. Don't argue in PTS, nor in commander applications, nor in out of character. Duckley got mad at some people for creating drama on applications. Never do that. I've seen multiple applications where it's, oh, -1, you don't seem fit because there's a better applicant. Never say there's a better applicant. If you're going to do that, tell them. I've told the person that I think there could be better applicants for to their face or over PMs. But don't put that on forms. Simply say, okay, I don't believe you will be fit for this because of this. Don't ever put because there's a better applicant. I hate seeing that myself. If you're going to comment -1, I actually would really wish someone would do it for me. Because I want to see what I can do good at. What I can improve on. Even if it hurts my reputation. But never ever do that. That's my PTS.
Alright, thank you, Echo. Moving on then. I always have to scroll up. Moving on then to Wolven. Wolven, go ahead for Marines.
Right. So something that I heard they kind of touched on earlier was that when you become a commander, you're not there to progress your own agenda. You're there to help the branch itself. You are a civil servant to help the other branches and the branch that you are the commander of. That is your job as commander. You shouldn't be thinking of yourself or what is in the future for you. You need to make sure that you are doing the best you can in the moment, and you need to make sure that you are doing all the work you possibly can for your branch and for the branches around you. And I've seen too many commanders that are too worried about their own reputation. They're too worried about what is in store for them in the future to actually get anything done. They're too scared to take risks. They can't ever get the job done. And that's something that I've really been trying to concentrate on, and I think that's something that everybody else needs to do as well. They need to forget about their own agenda. They need to forget about anything that they need and or
User
want.
disconnected
They're
from your
there to
channel.
help the branch, and that's it. End of story. And I'm tired of people getting the commander position and then using it as a stepping stool to get to a higher position. I'm tired of it. You're there to help the branch. You need to focus on that branch. End of story. And another thing is,
User
you
disconnected
guys
from your
really
channel.
need to train your men a lot better, because there are times where we're sitting at front gate and there's code red has been called. There's guys sitting on the KOS hills to the left and the right of the base, and MP and base ops and even some of my fast operatives aren't doing anything. So we really need to focus on their training. We need to get it through their thick skulls that if somebody's sitting on the KOS hills and they're standing up there, you need to shoot them. That is your job. And I've seen that one too many times. You need to make sure that your training is actually getting through their heads and it's not something they're gonna forget 5 seconds later. You need to set up a course of standard training that every single enlisted and officer has to go through in your branch. It's something that everybody needs to do. Because when I see all of the US failing occupations in raids, when we outnumber the insurgents 20 to 1, it's absurd. There are two different sides to the US. There's the side of us completely overwhelming them with our numbers, and then there's the side with a specialized team of operatives that go in and get the job done. And that's something that I know the Marine Corps has been doing for a long time, because we win almost all of our occupations. Our raids obviously are a little tougher, but a lot of the stuff we do, we win because we are trained. We go through that training. We all know that when someone gives us this call out, we know exactly what it is, where it is, who it is, and what we need to do to take out that target.
User in your channel timed out.
You need to
User in your
focus
channel
on
timed out.
your training, and you need to make sure that you're not just trying to overwhelm the insurgents with your numbers, because that doesn't work out very well. A lot of the time, we'll just have PV2s grouped up, and then the insurgents will RPG us from a kilometer away, and we won't have any idea where it came from until one of our marksmen says, oh, it came from this direction, and then all of a sudden it's this manhunt for one person, and all of the US are looking for that one guy. It's ridiculous. That's all I've got to say.
Alright, thank you. Alright, thank you, Woven. Moving on to, I believe we have one last one, which is Rip. Rip, go ahead.
Alright, so I know MP, Base Op, and Fast have their own positions and whatnot. I believe a lot of the commanders and officers should have defensive positions stationed around the base, so it offers a little more help to us, because it gets kind of annoying when there's like an event going on and we have a VIP in jail and MP, Fast, and whatnot are in the jail securing, and then there's 1,500 Navy guys walking in. or 1,500 Marine guys or something like that. So I think having like positions set up around the base would help better our chances of disorienting and all this other grouping up and whatnot to help it, things like that. So branch disrespect, it's been going on for a very long time, and that needs to be held to a higher degree of seriousness and punishment as well. So a few days we've had a few people in MP disrespect people and whatnot. They've received their punishment and they've been blacklisted and whatnot. So I believe that all other branches should keep that standard up high. So disrespect should be at a 0. And this applies to the server training a little bit, but please tell your enlisted for the insurgents to stop shooting us in base. We've been getting a lot of snipers and a lot of people shooting us in the BZ and inside of the base, so please remind your enlisted about that. Also, non-security branches loitering in the BZ. I know, again, this applies to the training from the server, but remember to tell your enlisted if you see them in there loitering, just give them a heads up. Let them know, yeah, we kick them out, but sometimes it goes in one ear and out the other. So PTS breaking and debrief. So that has been a serious issue lately. Like Declan said, the debriefs have been a lot more janky and whatnot. So I want to enforce the security forces. So that'd be MP Fast, who are mostly doing the stuff in the debrief, to use /W or LOC. And then, and not just MP base op and fast for this one, but also every single enlisted. They need to know where all the KOS zones are. And just remember that just because a lot of the MP aren't in the debrief, remember that most of the time it's only going to be RCU, HRU, and the officers who go to the debrief. Most of the time they're in the buffer zone. Oh, and Ducklet also added a rule: no more using explosives in the AOS zone or near the US base unless you're raiding. So remember, if you guys are going up doing a mission, please remind your enlisted, no explosives in the AOS zone or near the base, please. That's all I gotta say.
Alright, thank you. I'm
User
looking through. I don't
from your
see any more
channel.
PTSs under my line. Is there any person that has not spoken that would like to speak on behalf of their branches? Anyone? Keep in mind the people that have channel commander. No one else besides people that have channel commander that want to speak.
Did anyone talk about MP and base ops in the USA?
No, before you start talking, I just want to mention, guys, only the people that have channel commander. Only the people that have channel commander. We're not allowing anyone else to speak because it'll just go on for more than an hour, which it already has, or longer.
You mean channel admin?
Yeah, channel admin, sorry. Horrible, what did you want to say?
Well, I feel like the response time with the MP and base op is quite slow. Like, I would expect it from a branch that obviously isn't focused around helping the base. Anytime when there was a need for an MP or base ops, it's quite slow response. And if there's something very fun, like an explosive in the base, they take forever to deal with it. Obviously the standard procedure of get rid of the people near the area, get EOD near to sort it out. I just don't see any of that. I just see them not caring and just sitting back. They obviously do the thing of everyone stay away from it, and then they just think they can shoot it, and I'm just like, what? See if you can get a standard procedure done. It's just no.
User disconnected
Okay,
from
thank
your
you,
channel.
Horrible. This is the last call that I'm going to make. If any of the representatives from the branches that would like to speak that currently have channel admin want to speak, that means the commanders are above, or someone that is representing the branch because they're the highest on, or any of the lieutenant generals that are here. If anyone else wants to speak, last minute, go ahead. Izzo, go ahead.
Alright. Now, throughout this entire meeting of us, giving out advice and everything, I feel that a lot of people have lacked the applying part. And now the advice part is really good, but if you guys ever need any help, just understand that this is a community. Commanders have a commander meeting so that we can talk to each other about problems that we're having within our branch and try to figure things out. I feel that we haven't really worked anything out in a while, and so therefore we go to the officers. If you guys ever need any help applying anything in your branch, if you need help in any form, situation within the server, please contact us. We're more than able to, we basically have more than enough time on our hands to help you guys out with something. And sorry for stuttering there. I just got a poke. But please, all of this is really good, but it's more about applying what you guys have said here. So please take what you've learned here, take notes, and really apply it. But I also have a PTS from Krampus that I would like to say, and then I think that would be it on my part. He said, I am sorry that I could not be present for this meeting, but I have some other business to attend to. But I am also sorry for my inactivity for the past week, as holidays were packed for me. Insurgent Army has been on an all-time low, but we'll make sure to establish more officers and make Insurgent Army great again. Also, I had more things to mention, but fellow Insurgent officers have already mentioned them. And that's basically it. So,
User in your channel timed out.
All right, thank you. We're gonna go ahead and cut this meeting now. We've gone over an hour now. I want to make this just stop this here. One last thing that I want to mention as a closing note. I am assuming that many of you kind of hearing problems that have arisen, hearing the problems that we've seen out of you guys. I'm assuming that a lot of you guys might be want to not lash out. I don't know. Maybe some of you guys maybe have some sort of like anger right now.
In your channel timed
hearing
out.
problems, but it might be hypocritical or anything. Just know that we're just expressing things that we have personally seen from you guys, and if you guys have anything that you want to mention to us, feel free. If someone specifically said something during this meeting that you don't agree with, PM them, tell them how you feel, get in a channel with them if you can. Tell them how you feel, tell them if you disagree or whatever. Just please, things that I've noticed through these types of meetings where we kind of expose flaws that we've noticed as a community, or as as higher ups, is people tend to lash out then on like enlisted, or try to get angry at them, or make them do PT, seamless PT for due to the fact that they got yelled at or whatever. Don't do that, please. Just keep in mind that this is just us expressing our flaws. We want to better everyone. And also, a lot of mention was, that we're not too serious now, we're not professional. Please don't take that into account that we're wanting you guys to start demoting and punishing people out of nowhere. That is not what we mean by more serious RP. What we mean by more serious RP is you guys are just more professional in things, right? Don't just, start making enlisted do PT, just because they did one little thing wrong. Try to make them try to have them benefit through it, right? The staff team, when a new player accidentally kills someone, we don't jail them for it. We usually just tell them like, hey, make sure that next time you're aware of this rule, and that you're, next time that you actually pay attention to the rules and make sure that you're following those rules, right? We don't want you guys going around demoting and giving everyone PT that you see fit. We just want you guys to make sure that you're taking this into account, all the flaws that we pointed out, using them, benefiting yourself, benefiting the people around you by taking just these things into account. That being said, meeting adjourned. You guys are all free to leave.
User left your channel.
Fambo.
Thank you for
User
spending your
left
time.
left your channel.
Thank you for spending your time here, guys.
User left
Tiro
your
plus
channel.
put a Russian